Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. After the Seattle Surge crashed out of Major 4 in top 8 just a couple of weeks ago, many raised the question, will they decide to make a roster change? That has not happened, it seems, as of now, but we get a very interesting insight into what's been going on there behind the scenes. Pred talking about the fact that the team is not accountable to their mistakes and wants some serious changes. Very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Plenty to dive into today. First of all, thought this is kind of funny for Breakaway. The world of track design every single map. There was also this that London came out with, right? Great title for competitive COD. Black Ops 2 we even saw last night is outpacing Modern Warfare 2, the current Modern Warfare 2. On the Steam sales right now, this was, you know, pick one from these. I know that most people's favourite map here will probably be Fringe. I was an absolute Stronghold stan, to be perfectly honest. I will stand by that forever, that Stronghold was one of my favourite maps ever and probably my favourite to play on this game, but it's tough to choose. I mean, Redwood Search, there's just so many good options here, but yeah, miss those days, long may. Well, hopefully they come back at some point, right? Just run it back again. Black Ops 3 remastered, baby. Where is it? Quickly from Clay as well, we need Pro City 8s for COD immediately. So Pro City was something that Tarek came up with in Valorant. The idea of this was that pros going into play ranked together was just not working out. There was all sorts of problems with ranked in the Valorant side. There was players they'd come into that would stream snipe, or that they would be, I think crypto throwing was a thing as well, where these players would bet on their own top tier ranked games because there were sites that would offer lines on them, and then they would like throw deliberately because they were in the games to make money. So absolute shambles. Don't think that happens thankfully in the Call of Duty side, but still the idea was that Tarek put together a Discord, I'm guessing it was running Discord, where various pro players and top challengers effectively would join up and they would set up their own system for playing 10s as it is in Valorant, where you would yeah, things could be tracked a little bit more. The players were in there, so it was easy to actually set up the 8s lobbies rather than being like, oh, need 2 for 8s, just let me know, whatever. So yeah, proper Discord, and they would even have like you know, ELO rankings and stuff where they would just check it, you know, players would go up and down the rankings, and it was pretty interesting to see how that would go. I'm not sure it's quite popping off as it was a few months ago, but still, Clay wants it to happen. Now, Mack has been talking for some time about making this happen, and he's actually just built this out and is ready to go, but this is the funny thing, right? You can build out anything really cool for the pros, but getting the pros to actually do it is where you run into your issues, right? It's the same story with Clay and the others who tried to set up, you know, like a pro players union, right? And they apparently were all in agreement to do it, but then when it came to actually putting pen to paper and getting something over the line with the lawyers, then all of a sudden it wasn't going to happen, right? So this is the issue you run into. As Clay says, ranked is chalked right now, right? Because, I mean, obviously in Call of Duty you don't have the crypto throwers, but you've got the hackers, which is arguably even more of an issue. Starting 8 always takes forever and is a mess. Really think the pro scene could do with something like this, get some sponsors, throw out some cash for the top elos. Think people would be down. I certainly agree people would be, but you know, whether they would actually execute on this, right? And there's the debate that Tarek has had as, okay, who do you bring in from the amateur scene? How far down the ladder do you go? How can you determine if someone's qualified enough to be in this? And, you know, I think it's kind of cool. Do the pros want to play with certain amateur players in their 8s matches? Maybe not. So there's a debate to be had, but it'd be cool to see if they can execute on this. Quickly as well from Drazah, I thought this is kind of funny. He was playing, as he always does, 8s last night and run into Snoopy on the other side. So, I mean, this play from Snoopy is, I mean, Drazah lost full about this one, and you can't blame him, right? Search and destroy Charles. Snoopy just comes flying out the window here, or flying out the door here on Hotel. This is just such an outrageous chow to take, and he gets the kill. So, Snoopy is this new Mexican player, I believe, who's just been picked up by the Boston Bridge Academy. Doug reckons he's next up. I think he's next up as well, to be honest. I would be surprised if this guy isn't in the Pro League at some point in the next couple of seasons. And when Drazah, the absolute 8s demon, is sitting there getting annoyed at you making plays like this, it's probably a good sign that you're a pretty solid player, to be honest. So yeah, Drazah was not happy with this guy, but you know, it's probably a good sign for his future as well. And if Doug is picking up to his challengers roster, then he's probably pretty good, because Doug's history of that is pretty impressive as well. Just wanted to share a clip here from Scump, because we saw yesterday that Nick Merckx and Tim the Tapman are getting their own operators in the game. Tim the Tapman, I totally understand. Nick Merckx was a Call of Duty legend a few years ago, but you know, he's basically quit Warzone now, is he not, and talks about how bad the game is. So kind of confused about that one, and the idea that Scump doesn't have one is pretty criminal to me. Like, you know, at least, okay, I'm probably biased, right, from a competitive Call of Duty perspective, but still, what Scump's done for Call of Duty in general, right, not even just from a competitive perspective, is mega. So yeah, surprise, Scump responds to it on stream and says, look, not too much of a big deal, and I think this has got to happen at some point, right?
Oh yeah, here we go. How do you feel that Nick Merckx and Tim are getting a skin before you? Pretty whack. How don't they put your their most influential creator in the game. Okay, guys, listen. To be honest, it does not bother me, okay? Those guys are very big streamers. They've done a very good job at what they do. Obviously, you know, I've had a long tenured Call of Duty career, but those guys appeal to just a different audience. It's a different audience, you know what I'm saying? So I can't even be mad at it. It's disrespectful. I mean, dude, you guys act like Activision is a human. You know what I'm saying? It's literally a business.
So you would think at some point Scump gets his own operator, but I guess we'll have to stay tuned. But Scump's not too worried about it, which is always cool to see. Let's dive then into this. So Prid comes out last night with Thunder from Down Under episode 2. I know that this episode has been a long time in the making now. It's gone through loads of iterations, and it's an absolute masterpiece, to be honest. A cracking video. I'll definitely link it for you guys down below if you guys want to check out the entire thing. But I wanted to dial in on a couple of interesting minutes, because the most interesting parts of these docu-series videos that these teams make, and of course, Prid, like, this isn't Seattle's video, this is Prid's video and his team working on it, and it's better than what the vast majority of teams in the CDL put out, to be honest. But the best part about these videos are the behind the scenes things. If there's any interesting moments that happen in the dressing room, right, before or after the games, and we've seen in the past, like OpTic Texas in their process videos, they'll sometimes put some clips in, and we even saw in the past, we talked earlier today with Dashy versus Rambo, there was even some moments last year where a process episode came out where you could see some friction developing there, and, you know, they don't put in everything, but they put in a fair bit. So I don't know if Seattle Surge, if they produce a docuseries, would actually put this particular clip about a share for you guys in the video, but Prid's team does, and it is very interesting, right? I mean, we don't usually get to see this amount of insight into everything behind the scenes. Now, this clip here is, you know, I'm definitely going to be saving this one to use at a later date when the time arises, because, like, this is obviously out of context, right? They're just joking around, but it's just kind of funny, this 2-second clip. So what might have been going on here behind the scenes after maybe Accuracy might have made a bad player in a situation like that. But, you know, still, the point is that Prid was not happy about some of the plays that his team made. This is going back to Major 3 when they lost to FaZe in that crazy situation. They lost the 4v2 round 11, all this stuff. You guys know the story at this point. And Prid was not happy about his team making mistakes, not being accountable for them. He reckons they make these mistakes, they turn up to games, do the same thing, and he was not a happy man. You can understand why. But the funny thing is, to me, that pretty much the same situation occurred now as it did back then.
Hey. Lakers Raptors tonight, 9:30 p.m. My place for watching it.
Okay. But what's the bet on it though? Like, that's the real question.
LA. You feel anything when the team was kind of like I felt when slothy?
Nah, not at all. When it's game day, I don't think about any of that. This is how I am. Game day, nothing really phases me, to be honest. Until like afterwards, I walk back and see what mistakes we made. Game day, my head's robotic. Like, we always got to hold each other accountable. To me, I'll never wake up game day and like come flat. Never in my life. So that's what I hold myself to. It's just what I expect others to do as well.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. I said I should have done. I know what I did wrong. I know it's unacceptable.
Okay, I know, but how many times have we said it's unacceptable? I know this, I know that, and we do the wrong thing. We have no credibility of saying, yeah, fuck up, because when it comes to the game, we do the same thing. So I have to voice it so I can get peace of mind, so we know we're not going to do it again. Okay, that's it.
You're saying that's fine, I just don't get mad at you.
I'm getting mad because with the way you're talking, you don't have to keep reiterating that. That's why I'm getting pissed off. Because you keep reiterating, that's why I'm getting pissed off. I know it's unacceptable. I know we have no credibility. I know that you guys saying something about it. I know. Yes. Oh yes, I know. I'm saying I know. Yes, you saying do I see? Yes, I know. It's the 6th time I've said I know. I know.
No one wants to hear that they up. No one wants to hear that they made a mistake. No one wants to hear that shit. No one does. But it just has to be said, and that's it. For me, even saying, yo, I hope we don't do it again, I still have that in my chest until we start doing it. Because for me, words don't mean shit anymore until I see it in game. That's it. We made a lot of mistakes. Yes, we trolled a lot of rounds. When the pressure comes, a lot of people are gonna make mistakes. That's what COD is. It's just whoever capitalizes on the mistakes or who gets lucky. It's high intense, high emotions. It's always gonna be like that. Just need to get through this series. Everyone's pissed the off. If you wanna be a champion, if you wanna be this and that, like, you just gotta put that aside, address everything that's on your chest. If someone's pissing you off, if someone's done something, if something happened, like, I told Mack straight away, bro, when you're shrugging at me, or like, I even told him after map 3, I said, bro, your energy's low right now. You sound deflated. You sound like you don't want to be here. I told him that and he took it well. He just said, yeah, I understand. Like, he's going to try to pick it up. That's all I needed to hear. We all should be comfortable enough to say what we need to say. Get mad at each other. Who gives a He can only go here, he can only go here. If he goes here, you know what I mean? Like, you guys weren't even saying that. Like, you guys were just like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
So as I say, it's not often you get to see that level of insight behind the scenes into Pred's, attitude as well. It's really interesting to see how Pred feels that way compared to the rest of his team, because aCuRacy, you would think, is the leader of this team, right? And I guess in terms of in-game comms, he probably is. But Pred, you can definitely see some leadership qualities in Pred, right? And obviously, this docu-series is focused on Pred. It's not focused on his teammates. You don't get to see as much of aCuRacy and co as you might do. But look, you get to see what Pred's personality is like and how he can be a leadership element to a team. And there's also been some questions as well, like if he was to join OpTic, let's just say, or if he was to join FaZe, like would he be able to bring the leadership that they might be lacking if they were to lose certain players? Maybe, maybe not. Probably yes, based on that evidence. And of course, because this episode has been a while in the making, it's quite a while ago now that those clips are coming out, but it was Major 3, right? Major 2, Major 3, pretty much. And Pred was talking about how, oh, make these mistakes, but yet we're not accountable for them, and you guys keep making mistakes and things don't change around. High pressure situations come in, we make errors and it cost us the map and the series and all this type of stuff, and Pred was angry about it, and for good reason. The funny thing is for me, right, is what's changed behind the scenes, because obviously they thought, you know what, we're in a decent place, we'll run it back again. Top 6 at Major 3 wasn't too bad. They came in swinging ready to Major 4, they did pretty well. aCuRacy turned up the heat as well, but these are the numbers of Major 3 and these are the numbers of Major 4. It's basically the same, to be honest. aCuRacy had a better stage. Mack and Pred were pretty much the same. Simp had a little bit of a worse stage by his standards, but the series records are pretty similar, to be honest, and it's top 8, right? So again, it's just funny, like you compare these two numbers and the performances of the two teams, at Major 3, Major 4, and all those issues that Pred was having and the frustrations during Major 3, surely it was the same story at Major 4 as well, because they basically just ran it back and did the same thing again. Top 6 before, top 8 this time. I think they had the potential to go further here, but they bowed out way earlier than they should have done, right? Obviously to Minnesota Rokkr. Mack made that mistake against Afro in the 1v1, the pressure situation, and it just does all kind of go back to what Pred said in that documentary quite a while ago. So, look, if he was getting that annoyed at Major 3, and you can't blame him for doing so, I can't imagine what he was thinking after Major 4. Maybe he realizes, you know what, we just got to call it a day here, run it to the end of the season. But with that attitude that he has and the willingness to win that he has, it was a debate that we had the other day, right? Will he stay on Seattle Surge? It seems unlikely, but if they were to offer him the most money of any team, then, and he was to, stay around with Sib or whatever, and, we obviously saw some friction between those two in that clip, most certainly, right? And of course, a lot of teams have moments like this behind the scenes. We don't necessarily get to see them because they don't produce documentaries and things like this. So, obviously, we're going to look at this in a different light. Maybe that we'll look at other teams that maybe say this type of stuff, but we don't necessarily get to see it on the front end. But his willingness to win is very clear indeed, and if that is the case, as it clearly is, then will he want to just stay on Seattle Surge? Seems pretty unlikely to me. If he does, as he will, have offers from other teams. Speaking of one of the teams that might give him an offer here, I thought this is incredible from FaZe Codmuse. So they looked through every single, I believe this might have been for the entire season, FaZe game that was played, and counted the kill feed to determine who they had killed in each particular moment. This must have taken ages, but it's a crazy stat actually to look at. So obviously Fame has not been in the league that long, but this is the highest percentage, effectively easiest gunfights. Who do they gun every time? So aBeZy has killed Fame in 66% of gunfights between the pair of them. Simp killed iLLeY 63% of the time. Hicksy is for Cellium, and then Slasher it's Arcitys, which is actually pretty interesting as well, given the fact that, obviously they are kind of fighting for the same spot in a way, given Arcitys was there last year, Slasher's there this year. So remarkable stats. I'd also be very interested to see for certain players like who their lowest is, right? Who do they always get gunned by? I guess maybe for Arcitys it's the same way the other way around, but pretty interesting. And just to close out here with your scuffed team of the major from back at Major 4, this I believe is fan voted in part, so that's kind of the reason why you've got Shotzzy and Huke in here. It should probably be one or the other, but at least aBeZy's there, at least Octane is there. I feel like Huke is probably deserving as well, but realistically you've got to have Drazah in here, right? I know because it's fan voted it's not going to happen, but Drazah or Kenny at the very least should have been here, given the fact that there's two OpTic players here, but yet they didn't win the event. Los Angeles Thieves won the event. But very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.